PSA, M. Night Shyamalan, stay out of your movies.
Please.
It feels like The Room. Okay, so Glass. This is the trilogy of superhero movies from M. Night Shyamalan. It was an interesting movie. Coming after Split, which kind of, the surprise ending, of course, of that movie is, oh hey, you remember Unbreakable? And this movie is essentially like, no, you must have watched the previous two movies, obviously.
Yeah.
To really enjoy what's happening here.
Yeah.
Which is funny because of certain things that we'll go to in a little bit. But like with all of our two-person reviews, we like to give you a couple good things and a couple bad things. So let's start off with the good.
Good thing. I really like the characters. I thought that the character development was there, and you had that feel between David Dunn and Mr. Glass that you had from Unbreakable. And then you add in Kevin, James McAvoy, and it gives this really interesting turnaround between dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I agree with you.
And
a little bit.
And it definitely could have gone a little sideways with adding the two different movies together, but I thought it actually went pretty well.
I'll give you a hot take at the end then. For my good thing, I did like overall I would say the idea of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It like its two predecessors, it takes, the comic book archetypes and kind of puts a twist on it and tries to make it a little bit more realistic, Think more like Christopher Nolan's Batman than something else. Except in this case, it does very much embrace sort of comic book tropes, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas Christopher Nolan was trying to break the formula entirely, while staying true to some of the characters. So, the funny thing about this, though, and this is where I'll go into my bad things about the movie has a tendency to just tell you things too much. It keeps, over-explaining things that you as the audience, it's weird because the movie half expects you to get it, and then the other half wants to tell you about it. This is a limited edition. I'm like, I get it where we're going here, I get it, man. And then the funny thing is, my slight criticism with the movie is, the movie takes a long time to get going to what you want out of the movie, because the good thing about it is that everything is Samuel L. Jackson. That's great about the movie.
That sounds like the bad guys teaming up.
Everything Samuel L. Jackson is awesome. But the negative is, it takes so long for you to get Sam Jackson into the movie. Yeah. And those other two characters take away from his time on screen. So it doesn't become his film, which is kind of not the point of Glass, because Glass is about Mr. Glass.
Yeah.
So it's kind of my little big gripe with the movie, and it gets in its way, unfortunately, a little bit. But what about you, Ransom?
So where I say that the characters blend really well together, I do have to say that the difference in storytelling between the two movies, the first two movies, does not.
As like a feeling.
Yeah, it goes back and forth between the pace of Split and the pace of Unbreakable. One gives you a lot of fast events occurring together, and then it throws you into the
drama.
Yeah, and a lot of the exposition that you get in Unbreakable. And if they stuck to one of them, it would have been great. But when you get pacing that goes back and forth, it feels so awkward.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that Bruce Willis is kind of like in Bruce Willis retirement mode. So he just kind of hangs out.
Comparatively, though, I think this one he actually tried a little bit more with than his previous ones that he's done in the past few years.
Yeah, well, if we're rating the twilight years of Bruce Willis, this is definitely not the worst twilight years of Bruce Willis, but it is twilight years Bruce Willis. Okay, so overall, what did we think of the movie? Give it like maybe a slight grade, and is it worth a watch, Ransom?
If I have to go with something out of 10, I'd probably say 7.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
It's an adequate movie.
It's a January adequate movie. That's saying a lot, by the way.
I definitely think if you've seen the first two and you enjoyed the first two, you'll enjoy this one.
Yeah.
It's got twists. It connects all of them really well. Yeah, as far as like storytelling and pacing and some of the little like nuances that M. Night tries to put in there, it gets a little tiring.
Yeah. Man, I think that, let's put it this way. If M. Night Shyamalan is all about the twists, and each of these movies have had a twist, then this last movie has the worst twist out of the 3.
Yeah.
Alright? That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not saying it's terrible, it's just not as great. So 7 for me as well for this movie. It is... I think if you're someone who's watched Unbreakable and Split, it is worth a watch because you want to see where these characters are going, obviously. And, you know, it's not terrible, but it is not as good as either of its 2 predecessors by far. Unbreakable being, oh, it's an interesting family dynamic here. It's kind of like, you know, Lex Luthor and Superman, but in like a really grounded situation. And then Split being this, oh my god, it's a great thriller from M. Night Shyamalan again. And just as a core movie, take out the Unbreakable parts of it, it's a great movie. So when you're having those 2 films that are each its own entities, you put them together and you expect like this great child out of it, the child is a little disappointing. Let's put it that way. The child is a bit disappointing. But it's not terrible, so you end up loving it still anyway. Yeah. So yeah, 7 out of 10 for me, and a worthy watch for those of you who have seen Unbreakable and Split. So, yeah, I think that wraps it up though. Thank you guys so much for watching our reviews, and I appreciate so much everyone out there who have seen our top 10 movies of 2018.
Yeah.
That was a really great video. I had a ton of fun working on it, and I'm so happy that everyone has really enjoyed it too, especially out of our Facebook community. Thank you. We're going to actually upload our little discussion about the top 10 in a little bit there. It actually has our individual top 10s. Just as a forewarning, it's not edited, it's more like a podcast. Thank you for watching this review, and for more, stay tuned here at Worthy Watchers.